Hello world and welcome back to the Too Relatable podcast. This podcast is a way for me to talk to myself like I used to as a kid. There is no limit to my thoughts and there is no scientific facts. But for today, it's a weird episode. Today's episode we're going to talk about our behavior with social media. Well, usually it's not scientifically based. There is no scientific facts. And actually, there is no scientific fact here. But I came up with this idea because I found this research about, let me see the title again. Privacy and disclosure on Facebook. Youth and adults information disclosure and perceptions of privacy risks. Well, that's a very long title first of all, but this is how researchers want to represent their work. I actually think that researchers should rethink that. Should rethink about YouTube, about doing YouTube. I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. All right, I think that what if researchers presented their work on YouTube? I don't know if it's possible or not. All right, I'm stupid. I don't know, but I think it will be very interesting. I would subscribe to a researcher if he had a YouTube channel. Let me know if you know any researcher on YouTube. I mean, their work is good, but it's getting too boring. I'm sorry, it's boring, okay? I know it's valuable, and I actually read 1/3 of it, but it's boring. It's great in some cases when you're a researcher as well, or you're a student, or I don't know, just like me, I have a midterm exam and I had nothing else to do, so you know what, let me read this research about privacy. So I was reading this research, and then I thought about my podcast. I haven't made a podcast in a while, so let me do this episode. Let me talk about what I've read so far. Because I have some thoughts there, they also don't have a lot of data. They actually do, but it's still vague, and their data is also a bit old. It's from 2009, and let me see their research. The research is from 2010. Yes, the research was published on 2010. So it's a bit old, but the concept is still the same. It's still the same. It's talking about the technology and talking about the privacy on Facebook. Facebook was the biggest site then. Guess what happened? Boys? Facebook is not the biggest anymore. Or still, I don't know how Facebook is still the number one. I think it's still the number one after YouTube, of course. But it's still the biggest social media app or website. It's crazy how it's still the biggest one. Even though I think everyone is on Instagram. Who uses Facebook? I feel like they're still the biggest because everyone has a Facebook account, but they don't use it. Or maybe they use it once per month. But it's crazy how they're still the number one. Anywho, Facebook is going downhill. Sad to see, but I don't care. So, first of all, they start talking about technology and how technology actually gave more privacy to people, to children, specifically to children and parents as well. They said this is new. They said that this is new. Well, it's not quite new, They say that people used to have one computer in their house and one telephone or phone, and they would use it, the family computer. So parents and children use the same computer, and that was the case in my childhood as well. But before that, it wasn't like that. Alright? Children used to communicate outside. They were playing and communicating outside, so there was privacy. They're saying now children are communicating with their friends in their rooms with their own cell phones. Well, that's the natural case. That's how it was in the first place. But then they talk about that before you're talking to your friends, now you're exposed to a bigger audience or bigger parties. And that's true. That's not natural. Now you're talking to strangers from all around the world. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? I don't know. I think it depends on the person. That's why I don't think that it's good for children. It's great, but only if you know how to use it, because some people are dumb. Sorry, alright, sorry. No, but seriously, especially kids. Kids are dumb, naturally, alright? And you might be lucky to be smart as a kid, and you get the internet and you don't ruin your life, but some people ruin their lives on the internet. Let me think of an example. I can't think of an example of ruining their lives. Maybe that was too harsh. Ruining their life. Yeah, they can ruin, like, I don't know, you can go into rabbit holes and start reading all that rubbish, and it doesn't stop there, and you just become stupid when you're reading stupid conspiracies. And I mean, conspiracies are great, but when you start believing them, that's when you're dumb. Sorry. Alright? Some people are just like that, and then that's their life. That's everything they have. Reading conspiracies. Conspiracies. And that's a theory. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, it can ruin their lives. And the same thing goes for gaming or playing video games. I'm not against video games. I actually love video games. I do play video games myself. But when you're a kid, there's limits. And it all goes back to the parents, not the technology, okay? Please, it's through the parents. Even before that, your kids will go and play outside. It's up to you to tell him to come back and do his work or homework or to study. It's not the ball or whatever he's playing that is going to tell him. So it's your responsibility as a parent to control that. Don't blame it on technologies, okay, please. Don't blame video games, okay? Please. Provide them with rules, like let them play as long as they're studying. Let them play as long as their grades are great. They're doing what they are supposed to do. Other than that, why are you restraining them? It doesn't make sense. Well, some people or some parents would say, well, there are some other hobbies that are better. Well, present them to them. Like, present some great hobbies that you have. What is it? Playing football? Wow. I love football. I'm a big football fan. But if your child isn't, why are you forcing him? I'll suggest like presenting to him these hobbies, and if he likes it, then great. If he doesn't, let him play video games. Please. Can you respect it, please? And I don't know. It's great that we are moving to a new age where people do realize that video games are actually sports now. They're sports now. But yet again, even if your child is talented in football, for example, you don't let him play 24 hours per day. He has to finish his studies as well, so that he's not dumb. Alright? Sorry about that, but yeah, he needs to study and play. Both. He can do both. So try to minimize that extra time where he's doing nothing. Let him, it's either studying or let him do whatever he wants. Well, not whatever, but try to control it in a good sense. Don't force him into doing something that he doesn't want to do, unless it's very crucial, like studying. Well, for studying, we have a big problem with the system. It's not appealing to anyone, so that's a whole other mess. But unfortunately, he has to go through that. So your job is to try and make it easier for him. Make it easier for him. I don't know how, or maybe because, let's face it, as a kid you don't accept most things, even if your parents give you advice and start talking to you about why it's necessary to go to school and everything. You still hate it. All that talk will go to the trash. And it's because of the system, but hey, that's the human history. No human was born and the world was given to him. You need to go through these things where it's not easy. You don't do whatever you want. You have to go through these things that you have to do. Like killing a giraffe. I don't know if that happened or not, but if there was a man that killed the giraffe, then congrats to him. That was not a great example, but what I'm saying is, this is life. You have to do things that you don't like sometimes, and it's hard to accept as a kid. So yes, going to school is very important. Unfortunately, the school system is all messed up. I think, I do have an episode about school, or no, I have it about university, sorry, but it's the same concept. It's actually broken and everything. For schools, I don't know why we go to school for 12 years. 12 years, that's insane. It should have been... Listen, let me give you my idea about school, or my idea of how school should be like. I think it should be organized to classes like we have on Khan Academy. If you see it, classes like calculus, linear algebra and everything, and then let everyone study at their own pace. But I don't know how to implement it exactly, but this is the general idea. I did not make a research, guys. Fortunately, I didn't. Well, you can think about it. You can have all these classes, and maybe they have them online, or let me think about it. How are you gonna do it in school? Maybe online. This is what I like online, but this is not what everyone likes, and that's another problem. But I think we can get to a solution. It's not impossible. And I think that people should study at their own pace. Some people are way faster than other people, and the system itself wastes so much time. It's unbelievable how much time we spend doing nothing at school, doing nothing, not knowing anything. When I went to school, I probably study for 30 minutes. 1 hour max from the 6 hours that I'm sitting there. It is crazy how much time I've wasted. I just found out that. I did not find that now, but if I learn online, it doesn't take me as much as I do in school. I don't know if the teachers are slow, but you feel like they stretch the course, and it becomes even harder when they stretch it, so you're not focusing with them. Well, that turned into a rant about the school system, but I think that it should be at different paces. Like, everyone chooses his pace. He wants to go slow, fast, whatever. Because 12 years is too much for me. That sounded very bad and egotistical, but listen, 12 years is too much for everyone. Like, there are too many courses that I took twice. Not took twice that I failed, no. Well, you learn about something, and then the next year you need it again, but you forgot about it, so the teacher has to do it again. Well, if that was online, I would have remembered it in 15 minutes, 30 minutes. No, he has to take another, 2 weeks to let you know that, hey, this is what you learned last year. Well, wow. So that was about school. That was completely off topic, but this is the podcast. This is the podcast here. Podcast. I don't know why I said it like that, but this is the podcast. And yeah, this is cool. So, as I've said, children still, I don't know, you need to control them, man. Yes, they have more freedom, freedom and privacy, more privacy from their parents now. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And there's certainly lines for parents where they can actually control their children, because guess what? If you control them 100%, then 18 years later, or when they are 18, you can't do that. So it's better to control their morals and their way of thinking by giving advice and, I don't know, as I've said, telling them you have to study, you finished your studies, your grades are great, do whatever you want, as long as it's not harmful. And that's a great way. And then giving them advice, even though they don't listen, it's gonna get stuck in their head when they're 18 or older. So it's way better than controlling them, Don't control them, even though I said control. It's great to control them. But yeah, I'm not an expert on how to raise children, but I know that controlling them is not great. I said control them, then I said control is not great. But I mean, like, there is, what is it called? You can control them, but to an extent, not too much. Alright? I would say 50%. Okay? Well, 50% might be a lot, but anyways. Let's keep talking about the technologies. So, we go back to the first point that they said, that, the privacy, and people now have more privacy, but as I said again, people had privacy even before internet with their friends. And then they mostly talk about Facebook, but it applies to everything. They talk about the consequences, but it's very strange. They're talking about the consequences, and they're talking that there is consequences and that you need to use the privacy settings and whatnot. And one of their examples is people getting arrested. Well, good, great. Let them get arrested. What do you mean? Are you afraid that people are going to get arrested for doing illegal stuff? Well, great. Let them get arrested. What do you mean? What do you mean? I did not even read the whole thing, and I'm criticizing the research. I'm not criticizing. I mean, it's a great research. It's a very great research. I really liked it. But yeah, it's a consequence, but it's not a bad one. Well, they did not say it's a bad one, anyways. But sorry. All right, whoever made this research, I'm sorry. But it's a good consequence, It's a good one. I mean, people have been doing bad stuff the human history, and it's a great time to be alive. People are being exposed for doing bad stuff and illegal stuff, and they're exposing their real selves more, and people are holding them accountable. So that is fantastic to me. If you'd ask me, it's fantastic. That's a great result. That is a great thing coming from social media. Let's see. Alright, let's see. They're talking about... what else they're talking about? We have also found that online disclosures can have a negative impact on romantic relationships. Okay, and Facebook information has also been used in legal investigations in Canada and other countries. Listen, as I said again, but using it legally, there That's where there is another argument about Facebook actually providing information to the government or whoever needs it legally. That's another topic actually, because again, you don't want your whatever you're saying with your friend to go to the government. But again, if it's, well, let me think about it, but it's a sticky situation here, because let's say it's a terrorist talking to another terrorist about an attack or something, and then it's you need to get the details. Like, there is balance here. It's a very sticky situation. This topic is more complicated than you think. Did you see that? Yeah, it's a bit complicated. You can't. So that's alright. That's a great conclusion. It's a bit complicated. Things are more complicated when you start thinking about them. That's what. When you were a kid, all these complicated things, like, I used to think about them, and they were a lot simpler. And then you start thinking more, and it gets a bit complicating. More complicated than you thought. Well, that is pretty much it. I did not finish the whole research. There's a lot of stats and whatnot, and I actually have a midterm tomorrow on the discrete mathematics, and after tomorrow I have another midterm that is calculus. 2 math exams in the same weekend. That is not a great weekend. Absolutely, it's not a great weekend. That's absolutely. So I just had to have a break, and study this research. Not study, actually. Scream. Well, that was pretty much it. I just scanned the research, and I'm here talking about it in a podcast, and I'm uploading it now while I'm studying again. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.